We've all heard it a million times. Salt is the bad guy. It raises your blood pressure, messes with your heart, and is something we should all cut back on. But what if I told you that the whole low-salt narrative we've been fed might be a total scam? To test this, I did something a little crazy. I ate an entire salt shaker's worth of salt in one day. Yeah, you heard that right. Stick with me because what I discovered is going to blow your mind. For decades, salt has been labeled the silent killer, lurking in our food, waiting to send our blood pressure through the roof and give us a heart attack. So, if that's true, eating 60 grams of salt, which is 12 times the recommended daily amount, should have sent me straight to the hospital. My blood pressure should have skyrocketed. I should have been in serious trouble. But, spoiler alert, that's not what happened at all. So, let us get to the bottom of why the salt story is as simple as we've been told. Here's the breakdown of my experiment. I took 60 grams of salt and dissolved it into about 5 liters of water. Then, I drank it throughout the day, checking my blood pressure 5 times to track what was happening. Now, I have to be crystal clear. Do not try this at home. This is extremely dangerous. People have actually died from consuming this much salt at once. I survived because I drank it very slowly over many hours. I started the day with a blood pressure of 114/66, which is perfectly healthy. After downing all that salt water, my final reading before bed was 130/61. It actually went down a little. My blood pressure stayed in the ideal range all day, even with a massive salt overload. So, what's going on here? To put this in perspective, I did another test. I checked my blood pressure before and after drinking a can of Monster energy drink. And guess what? Within just 1 hour, my blood pressure shot up from 108/66 to 125/71. That is a significant jump from a single drink, loaded with sugar and caffeine. How can an energy drink spike my blood pressure more than an entire shaker of salt? It just doesn't add up. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Back in 1977, the US government told everyone to cut back on salt. The idea was simple. Salt raises blood pressure, which leads to heart disease. This recommendation was based on studies by a researcher named Dr. Lewis Dahl, who experimented on rats. But here's the catch. The rats he used weren't ordinary rats. They were specifically bred to be extra sensitive to salt, and there wasn't a single human study to back this up until 1983, 6 years later. Despite the flimsy evidence, the 5-gram sade salt limit became gospel. But when you dig into the science, it's clear it was never a settled issue. The thing is, Dr. Dahl's research was mostly on rodents, not people. And even in his studies, the salt-sensitive rats needed a huge amount of salt, around 40 grams a day, for a human equivalent to show any high blood pressure. But the real kicker, the rats that were salt-resistant had no problems at all, even when they ate the human equivalent of over 100 grams of salt a day. So, how does this apply to us? Well, for most people, your body is incredibly good at managing salt. When you eat too much, your kidneys just filter out what you don't need and you pee it out. It's a natural, efficient system. That's why, even after my crazy salt shaker experiment, my blood pressure didn't budge. Let's take a step back in time. Salt has been a crucial part of the human diet for thousands of years. In ancient times, people ate between 40 and 100 grams a day to preserve food, and widespread high blood pressure wasn't a thing. In fact, the link between salt and heart disease didn't even start appearing until around 1912, long after salt became a kitchen staple. This brings us to the Korean paradox. South Korea has some of the lowest rates of heart disease in the world, yet they eat way more salt than Americans. Kimchi, which is loaded with salt, is a daily staple. On average, South Koreans consume about 4,000 milligrams of sodium, a day way over the US recommendation. And yet, their death rate from heart disease dropped by 40% between 2000 and 2019. Is it possible that eating more salt could actually be linked to better heart health? It completely challenges everything we thought we knew. So, let's circle back to my experiment. What actually happens when you consume too much salt? Well, a study from 1979 gave men with normal blood pressure more and more salt until they were consuming up to 87 grams a day. That's like 1.5 salt shakers. The result? They just peed out the extra salt. Their bodies didn't panic. Their blood pressure didn't spike. The body's natural systems just kept everything in balance. On the other hand, eating too little salt might actually be far more dangerous. A landmark 2014 study in the New England Journal of Medicine found that people who ate less than the recommended amount of sodium had a higher risk of death from heart disease than those who ate more. And there's more. Salt has a hidden impact on your hormones. A study in the journal Hypertension found that people on a low-salt diet had doubled the levels of stress hormones like epinephrine and norepinephrine. It seems like restricting salt actually stresses your body out, which is another reason it might not be the healthiest choice. Humans have always craved salt. Animals, from elephants to gorillas, will travel miles to find a salt lick. It's essential for our survival. Ancient civilizations were literally built on the salt trade. So how did this vital nutrient suddenly become public enemy number one? The bottom line is this. While going overboard with salt isn't a great idea, having too little can be actively harmful. The best approach is simply moderation. Salt your food to taste. Listen to your body's cravings and don't ignore them. And if you're sweating a lot from exercise, saunas, or just hot weather, make sure you're replenishing the salt you lose. So, should you banish salt from your kitchen? Absolutely not. The science just doesn't support the idea that salt is the enemy for most healthy people. Your body knows what it's doing. So, listen to your cravings, find a healthy balance, and don't fall for the low-salt diet scum. What do you think? Have you been misled about salt? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If this video opened your eyes, please give it a like, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more myth. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.